Go live. All righty. We are officially live on all platforms. Just checking, just checking. Yes, we are. All right. So, welcome everyone to. This thing is flipping and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but we're going to keep on going. Welcome everybody to Sex, Love, and Marriage. I am your host, your favorite life coach and certified sexologist, Kanya Ford, but I go by Coach K. I work in two different avenues in my sexuality coaching and life coaching practice. I work with women on understanding, acknowledging, and accepting your value, worth, and setting personal boundaries. And I do it through self love, accountability, and truly showing you how to own your sexuality. I also work with couples in the space of strengthening your intimacy literacy. Yes, so many times we may be saying the same thing, but because we can't get that language just quite right, we're missing the boat. So today, on our episode of Sex, Love, and Marriage, the topic is where are the boundaries when it comes to your partner and your friends? So I titled it Don't Friends. And I did this from an episode of a show that I saw some weeks back where there was to me, a too friendly relationship between a spouse and it was a man and the wife's friend. They were a little too friendly and they felt comfortable texting. And so I asked the question, like, where does that boundary lie? Where do we say, okay, you should not be texting my friend versus it's perfectly okay to text my friend? So we are going to definitely dive into that topic. Before we get too far into this, I won't call it a rabbit hole, into this text hole, I do like to give you guys just a few reminders that of some amazing things that we have going on here at Love and Intimacy 101 LLC. Hello, Lonnie B. Brown. Thank you for joining us here on Instagram. So, just so you all know, we are live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Instagram, on Facebook, as well as YouTube and Clubhouse. I am streaming live from my from my public page, but I also stream this in my private Facebook group that is designed for couples, which is called Love, Sex, and Marriage. Hey, Four Fancy Flavors, joining us here on Instagram. Thank you for joining us here on Clubhouse as well. Damaris, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. And Gwen, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And definitely feel free throughout the conversation to put your comments and questions in the chat box, or in Clubhouse, you can just raise your hand and come on up and be an interactive part of the discussion. I always love to have input from the audience because, as you all know, I say it every single time, I'm not here to be right. I'm simply here to be heard and get conversations started. So let's dive in. So, on the topic of friendships with your spouse's friends, where do you draw that boundary? Are you okay with your husband or wife texting your friends? Well, in that case, when I put the poll up on Instagram today, there was someone who put, it really depends on the situation. And I get that. If you looked at the graphic that I created for tonight's episode, you will see, and I'm going to stop the camera on YouTube so you can see it really quickly. You'll see that there's a text thread that's happening in that example, and it just says from the spouse's husband to the friend that says, "Hey, this is Tim, Kim's husband." So the friend replies, "Oh, hey, is Kim okay?" And the husband replied, "Yeah, she's okay. I was just saying, have a nice day at work." So then I put, what's next? So to me, I would want to know why would that be an exchange that my husband is having with my friend or my wife is having with my friend? Are they on a basis where maybe they knew each other before we got together? Herein lies the most important piece of this whole dynamic. There has to be an open conversation and discussion between two people in a relationship that helps to determine and set those types of boundaries. Simply because when we get into relationships, sometimes your friends are going to be around and they're going to become pretty close with your partner, your spouse. And so as their friendship maybe develop, maybe they get comfortable with sending text messages. Well, if you don't know anything about it, then you may see it as deceitful, dishonest. You guys are talking behind my back. So if you haven't had that discussion in the dating phase, and if you go back to some of my previous videos, we talked about the different conversations that must be had in the dating phase in order for a relationship to be healthy, long lasting, and happy. This is one of those discussions that we don't really think about in the early portions of our relationships. We don't think about the fact, hey, what if you become friends with my friends? Do you guys go and hang out? Do you just send random text messages to say, hey, I'm just telling you to have a good day at work? Are you even comfortable with your husband or wife texting your friend out of the blue, just saying, hey, have a nice day? Pretty simple, pretty, friendly, right? But you want to know why. All kinds of thoughts may start to creep into your head about a friend who you may be very close with, trying to figure out, why would my husband or my wife need to send this message to them? Well, therein lies the conversation. That comes down to, in the beginning parts of the dating phase, we talk about, so what happens when your friends become my friends? How does that look for you? Are you okay with me conversing or hanging out with your friend group? Here is the thing. And this is another video that you can go back and watch, because I did do this discussion of why friends are important in a marriage. The reason why friends are important to have in a marriage just at all is because each person that is inside of this marriage needs to have a place that is outside of the marriage to just unwind, relax, have fun, maybe sometimes bounce ideas off of, or just to kind of get out of the house every once in a while. So if this group of friends that you have that are yours starts to mingle into the relationship, it changes the dynamic of you having those outside friends, which allowed you to kind of get out of the, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but just the realm of relationship for the moment. And that's not to say you go out with your friends and you act a fool and you do things that you absolutely should not. But it's just to say sometimes, hey, me and my friends just go to the bar. We need to kick it. We need to unwind. We need to just let all the qualms of the home go and just relax. So if those friends that you have begin to be a meshed part of the relationship, it will absolutely change the dynamic that not just you and your husband or wife or partner has, but it will change the dynamic that now you and your friends that you came into this marriage have. It could cause tension. It can cause lifelong friendships to just dwindle away. There was a woman who her video was going viral on, hey Therese, thank you for joining us here on Clubhouse. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see you. There was a video going around with a young lady who, she said that she would not have her friends when they came into town stay at her house because she doesn't want her friends around her husband. And she got a lot of flack for that. She got a whole lot of people that were just talking mess. Like, Why are you not comfortable? Why don't you trust your man? Why don't you trust your friends? It shouldn't be a big deal if your friends are, coming around your husband, especially if you're there. And then you have some people that were just right along with her, like, absolutely, your friends coming to town, they should not be staying at your place. And with that, I would say I personally would not want a friend who comes into town necessarily sleeping at my house. And it has nothing to do with my husband. It has everything to do with the way that I am. I would want to be comfortable walking around my home in whatever I would like to wear in my home. But I also would want my husband to be comfortable being able to walk around the house, and maybe he just wants to run to the restroom and he just has on his boxer shorts. Well, you know what? If you have your girlfriends at the house, that wouldn't be an appropriate thing. And they may feel a certain kind of way. He may feel a certain kind of way. It doesn't always come down to a distrust of your friends or of your partner. It sometimes comes down to a respect boundary that you would just like to establish on the front end so that things don't get messy and grayed up on the back end. And so when I talk about, and yes, it says don't text my friends, all of these situations are what I'm talking about. Where does the boundary lie between your spouse and your friends? How do you have that conversation that doesn't come across as jealousy or insecurities, that will help you to establish a healthy boundary to say, this is my spouse, this is my partner, you are my friend. I think it's awesome that you guys are cordial and that you respect one another. I would prefer that you keep those relationships separate. If they grow, and oh, you know what? And y'all know my mind skips sometimes, but this right here is a very good example of how things can get grayed and messy. If any of you have ever watched or will begin to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, take a sip on this. This is my cup that my daughter brought me back from Texas. She was in the Battle of the Brains. Go Norfolk State. Whoop. So if you ever watched the show, Love and Marriage Huntsville, and you know the scenario of Martell and Melody Holt, how they had, just a bunch of mess, and they are now fully divorced. Well, later on in the seasons, a friend of Martell's was brought into the mix, and her name is Destiny. But when she came into the mix, and maybe I'm just slow because I didn't realize that she was Martell's friend, because that's how she met Melody. I always saw her as Melody's friends because her and Melody were very close. They talked all the time. When Martell was found to be cheating on Melody, and they were going through their divorce, Destiny was right by Melody's side. She was letting Martell know how wrong he was. And for the most part, she really didn't talk to him and did not like what he did. And so I always thought that Melanie and Destiny were friends. Well, it, came up in a discussion that they were having that Destiny was saying, even though I think Destiny was talking to Martell and saying, even though we were friends first and I knew you first and I met Melody through you, what you're doing is dead wrong. So I'm like, okay, so she was Martell's friends who now became Melody's friend. Well, we're going to see the dynamic of the relationship shift a little bit in this newest season that's coming up, where Destiny and Melody have some disagreements of how the friendship should go and what she felt should or should not be discussions between Destiny and Martell. And so knowing that Destiny was Martell's friend first, Destiny feels as though Melody has no say so over the boundaries and the discussions that she has with Martell. And just me describing that, you see, hear, and feel how grayed up and messy that is. This is someone who they got close, and so she felt as though, well, now we're friends. You should think on the accord with me. You should be totally against Martell, even though they were friends first, and everything about you and me should be sacred in between us. Well, in reality, Destiny's loyalty, as she would, not in those exact words, but as you will hear and see, will always be with her original friend, who is Martell. And so I say all of that and give that really messy descriptions to say this: your friends are your friends. Your husband, wife, partner, spouses, their friends are their friends. When you all meet friends together mutually, those are y'all friends. Yeah, I'm going to use that, y'all friends. That is just the same. If you go back and watch the video when I said I married you, not your family, that is the same as your family is your family, and your partner, spouse's husband or wife's family is their family. The loyalty of friendship lies with the people who brought them into the relationship. And so those boundaries need to be set really early on so that there is no confusion, there's no gray area, there's no heartache, there's no heartbreak, there's no, being upset about how someone feels. There will be none of that on the back end when you have those established boundaries on the front end. One of the things that I am super excited that I'm able to even offer to all of you that are listening and to my current clients is the 10 Ways to I Do premarital coaching program. And the reason why I created that premarital coaching program is because, number one, there is no rule book to marriage. There's no guidebook to marriage. Number two, every single marriage will be totally different and should only be done as it is best for the parties involved. And number three, because there are 10 basic conversation and things that every single dating, going towards marriage people should know and discuss. Prior to marriage is ideal in the dating phase. These things are done. But hey, pretty Lonnie, 1789, thank you for joining me here on Instagram. Good to see you. There is, if you already gotten married and you realize that conversations don't flow as easy, this is also a great program that you can do post-marriage as well. You can choose from doing 10 weeks of group coaching that will be you with other couples who are looking for the same guidance, or you can do a 5-week just one-on-one with you and your partner doing those coaching sessions. The program is laid out pretty simple and easy. You'll have activities that you would utilize in your everyday of living. You'll have tools and resources that you will be able to use throughout the longevity of your marriage. And what it does is it opens up the window of conversations early enough that they don't become defensive fighting words later on in the relationship. Conversations such as this, where the boundary lies between your partner and your friends. So I also want to remind you guys that if you have not already, head over to Amazon and get your copy of the 5 characteristics of a stimulating relationship. This is a really quick relationship guide that can be utilized for dating and or married couples. It can be utilized for people who are in search of getting into a relationship. It is 5 pillars that you should really consider when you are looking to be in a relationship with anyone. This is mainly made for the romantic partnerships. However, it's really good information for all types of relationships, friendships, family ships, work ships, all of those ships, situationships, which that's another day for another another topic. So make sure you head over to Amazon and look that up, or you can just look up my name, my author name, which is Coach K 101. So as always, my goal is not to just hold you guys here hostage. If you don't have any questions or comments, we are definitely going to head on out here shortly. But for anyone who is experiencing a lack of or trouble in the intimacy department, intimacy meaning all realms of intimacy, on Thursday, March the 24th, I am partnered up with 2 other amazing coaches, and we have a conference that is designed for women who are in relationships that lack intimacy due to either distance or the relationship style. So this can be someone who's dating someone who's in prison or married, someone who maybe has a military spouse, has someone who may be a truck driver or a first responder who the relationship doesn't have enough consistency to build intimacy. We're going to be talking about that. The name of the program is Deepening Intimate Connections. We are going to be talking about working on and overcoming those intimacy barriers. That conference is on March the 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can get your ticket, reserve your spot by going to the link in my bio if you are here on Instagram. You can also, I'll put the link here for the Facebook and YouTubers. I will put the link there so you can get with that program, or you can just go over to Eventbrite. You can look up Coach K 101, or just shoot me a message and I'll send you the clickable link. I'm really excited about this. The 2 coaches that I'm working with, I'm super excited about those young ladies. So next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our topic of discussion is sex is only a chore when. Yes, we're going to talk about it. I just watched a video today of an older lady was talking about it. So we're going to talk about when does sex become a chore and why it is considered a chore. So if you want to be an interactive part of that discussion, make sure you join me right back here on next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be talking about sex is a chore. For you guys, if you want to be in contact with me, you can always reach me here on the platform that you're hearing me on. I am on every single social media platform at Coach K 101. That's COACHKAY 101. You can message me anytime. I'm very responsive. Super excited about our couples retreat that is happening. Yay! Next week. That's our second annual couples retreat. Our couples are in for a fun time. And ladies, don't forget, the On Your Ish Sis Ladies Retreat is coming up in October. So reserve your seating, your weekend sweet stay. So I will talk to you guys on next week. It was awesome hanging out with you guys. Y'all enjoy. See you next time. Bye-bye.